Hi guys, welcome back to our research club in English. Dr. Fatma Zhraa Salem with you, a professor in the Faculty of Education at Ain Shams University in the Foundations of Education Department. And today we are going to discuss a very important topic related to the field of scientific research, which is the research questions. Let's get started. Actually, the first thing that comes in your mind when you build your paper and scientific paper or your thesis, you need to build the research questions. First of all, we need to define what's the research question. The research question is an inquiry about a topic, issue, in order to gather or collect quantitative and qualitative information about that topic. So we need to collect specific quantitative something related to statistics, charts, numbers. So we need to analyze these charts and statistics with qualitative, which means here the analysis and the reasons behind these numbers and statistics. So you gather a lot of information in order to analyze the reasons behind the topic or the issue or the problem, any problem under discussion that you discuss in your scientific paper or in your thesis. So the research questions is an inquiry. You ask about something, about a specific topic in your field of study, such as the foundations of education topics or field of study that you need to discuss specific topics related to this field of study of foundations of education. So a research questions is an inquiry about a topic, issue, or problem maybe in order to collect quantitative or qualitative or both of them information about this topic or that topic under discussion. So, in order to build your research questions, you should base these research questions in your paper and thesis on specific key criteria or standards or norms. A good research question is essential or important to guide your research paper or thesis. So you have many standards or norms or criteria. The first criterion, indeed, your research question should be clear and simple, not complicated, and never have many questions. You should ask about only one information and needs answer for this only one questions to gather this information. So it should be clear and simple. And the second criterion, it should be focused, concentrated only on the reasons behind the problem, the factors behind the problem. So you need to focus, you should build your research questions about what is the reasons behind the problem, what is the reasons behind, what the factors behind the issue. And predictable, seeing the future or forecasting of what happened if the increasing of the dropout in the schools, what happened when the government succeeded to overcome the dropout inside schools. So this is very important to predict and forecast of the first coming events or the forthcoming probabilities or of your issue or your problem under discussion. Also, the very important criterion, you ask about new information, not given information or not the information that you know about, that you know before about this problem or this issue or any your topic under discussion. So bring us new information. So your research question should bring and give you new information, not old information or known or well-known information or given information. You need unknown information or new information that you ask about. Suitability. The most important criterion here, suitability, relevant or not, or irrelevant. This question or this you ask about specific information, and you need to collect information about specific or these factors or these elements. So you need your research question should be suitable, relevant to the topic under discussion, or related to your topic and the elements and the factors and the reasons of your topic or your issue or your problem that you discuss. Also, the most important criteria to build your strong research question, most important criterion, practical. Your research questions, you can test it, or practical and applicable. You can test these questions and put these questions under experiment and test these hypotheses or these assumptions about these questions to get information and to get results from these questions. So this some of the most important or essential or significant criteria of how to build your strong research questions: clear, focused, predictable, brings new information, suitable, practical, and applicable. Okay, let's see some examples about these research questions or scientific research questions according to the criteria that you should base your research questions upon. What are the characteristics of distant learning? So this is clear and simple questions and ask about the most important features of a specific issue in education or topic in education, such as the distant learning or the online learning. So what is the role of the distant learning in improving the students' soft skills? So he asked about specific, he focused on the specific type of skills, which is soft skills. The third questions or the third example is the distant learning better than normal learning or the usual or the old learning or traditional learning? So if the distant learning better than, so this ask about the comparison, how your mind, how do you, the respondent or the person that you give these questions or your target group or the analysis that you will conduct to get information for answering this question should be clarified, that make a comparison between the traditional learning and distant learning and the positives, negatives, drawbacks, and benefits. The question number 4, how effective is the distant learning at reducing the rates of dropout? How effective, how positive, how active, important, how effective is the distant learning at decreasing rates of dropout? And the last question, what should the government do to provide the distant learning in the community classes? So what should the government do to provide the distant, to make the distant learning available to all the community or all the community classes? So this is very important, the process or the issue of availability here in when we discuss the topic of or the issue of the distant learning. So these are some examples of the research questions or scientific research questions about the specific topic in education, such as distant learning or the distance learning. Now it's time for activity. I'd like to check the following research questions if these research questions are relevant or irrelevant according to the criteria that we discussed in the first slide. I'd like to ask your mind, this is proper to my research questions, to my paper and my thesis or not? This research question is proper to put it and get information from it or not? And what is the target group that I addressee and that I should collect information from? So this is very important to ask and consider all these questions before putting and building your research question. So check if this correct, incorrect, or suitable to your research paper or not. What is my hypothesis? You ask about the hypothesis, your hypothesis. Ask what, whom that you ask, and you need to get information from whom. So this is very important to put proper and suitable question to get information and to gather your information. What are the main variables of the research? So you ask about your variables. What are the factors according to the case study method? This is correct or relevant or irrelevant. How many persons benefit from the distance learning? This is relevant to your research paper, and this is scientific research questions or not. Continue. In what extent is the social media effect on the students' manners? This is proper to your scientific paper or not? How can the government help reducing the negative impact of social media on the students? This is proper and ask about specific information, and you can get information from this question or not. Are there any programs of raising students' awareness of using the social media? So you ask about the programs. Are there any programs of raising students' awareness of using social media? This is correct scientific questions according to the research questions criteria that we put to easy to build your strong research question. How do you can evaluate the effect of the social media on the students? So how do you can evaluate, assess the effect of the social media on or upon the students? And this correct or relevant or proper to your research paper or not according to this, related to the target group, related to how to build good and strong research questions by putting a specific key criteria in your mind, and if before you write or before you're putting or building your research questions. Thank you so much for having me in this research club in English. See you inshallah in the next club in English, research club in English. Please study well and don't forget to smile all the time. Thank you so much. Dr. Fatma Zhraa Salem was your professor in the Faculty of Education at Ain Shams University in the Foundations of Education department. Bye bye.